Hey everyone, it's Brandy and you are watching Abstract Crafter. Today is store number 5 of 5 in the Project Amazon, the last store that we have to look at. And we'll do a wrap up and go over all of the paintings that we looked at in this round. And so if you're interested in all of that, then just keep on watching and we will get right into that as soon as we roll the intro credits. Well, here we go. Final video of the part 2. You know, I was doing a little bit of thinking. I thought it might be kind of fun. I don't know if I'll be able to do 5 of them, but I think we should do an iteration of this with multi-packs. Because they're very tempting. The prices are always really good, but I think you can be easily fooled by them. I've gotten quite a few multi-packs from Amazon with very mixed results, so I think it might be kind of nice to dedicate one of these to multi-packs, like 2-packs and 4-packs. I haven't seen anything besides a 2 and a 4, but I think it might be kind of interesting. So anyway, let's get into the meat and potatoes of today's video. This one is the QC Life Store, and if you remember last time, I think it was the third store, second or third store, was the QC Style Store. So, I think it's the same company, though they don't look anything alike. And if you remember, we have done the 4 stores before this, and I'm just reaching over to look at my notes. The first store that we reviewed, and as I talk about each one of these, I will put up a little reminder as well as their score. So our first store was Finecase, which was the love story quote, and that did score a 9.5 out of 10. And then we got the not so Be-YOU-tiful. I kill myself. I slay. The not so Be-YOU-tiful from the Nanxi store, or TWBB, which was also what the store name, the advertised store name was. And that only got an 8 out of 10. That was the lowest painting so far. And then the next one was from AIRDEA Direct with the Surf Shack. And that one actually did pretty well. I didn't write down its score, but I think it was a 10 out of 10. Almost positive of that it got a 10 out of 10. I think it was our only perfect score so far. Yes, and then we did the diamond painting directly, which was the Dragonfly and Flowers, and that got a 9 out of 10. So all over with this project, I think the last project, pretty much all of them were high scoring, with the exception of maybe one. And that one we also had a bonus. I don't foresee any bonuses coming up in this one. I haven't checked my email. You never know. So today's painting up for examination, again, is from QC Life Store. And this one, as well as the last store, were the most expensive ones for this project at $9.99. So, from my prices ranged from $8.29 to $9.99 for a total of $46.12, well below my $50 budget for this round. And again, I want to say a big thank you to all of you that have supported me by watching my videos, commenting on them, liking them, using my Amazon links, or purchasing items from my Amazon influencer page. All of that led to this project. It was entirely funded by my wonderful supporters like you. So, first and foremost, thank you so much. It is amazing what we do when we work together. I bring you some beautiful paintings, help you find stores that maybe might not have been seen otherwise. So, and it doesn't cost you a dime. Unless you buy the paintings, of course. But, so, this one is one that I've kind of had my eye on for a while. I had one, I don't know if it was this exact one or a version of this one, in my wish list for a while. Not only here, but I've seen this one on AliExpress. So if I can find that one at the time of editing, I will link the AliExpress one as well for those of you that are not big Amazon fans. But you'll see when we get into it. This one, as we go over this, we'll talk about some of the specs. It is a small one. It's a 30 by 30, and it does look to be about right. I've ordered some 30 by 30s before, and it looks about right. And they had the same kind of thing on the sides with the embellishment. I really like details like that. I'll bring it up closer so you can see. We're just around the corner where if it was actually cut right, you can see from the painting its neighbor that it got cut off. So when it's cut right, it can beautifully frame your painting, which really ultimately doesn't mean much because you still got all this like writing and like the chart and stuff and all this stuff on the top. So it's, if there was a way to make that removable or invisible, that would be like almost perfect framed. You would get it like, I don't know. I am rambling. Quickly, all the toolkits except one have been pretty much the same. There was only one that came with an extra drill pen with a multi-placer and with extra baggies. But otherwise, they've all been the small green tray, the small plate of wax. And I do find that actually fairly typical on Amazon. And unlike Lucy with Star Roar, you know, most of them, you know, I mean, much like Lucy with Star Roar, and she was very proud of her toolkit, so she made sure to feature that, and I do appreciate that. So, you know, it's nothing big. It's none of this stuff will even really get used by me at this point. They're just kind of collecting dust. So let's flatten this one out or see how flat it does. It's a fairly thick canvas, so the excuse me, so the folds in it might not come out on their own without me having to iron them. But also, as you can see, it is supposed to be a butterfly. Well, if you can see, it's a paint splattered butterfly. And like I said, I've seen this one multiple times in, there's quite a few versions of this one actually. Like I've seen it in different, not this exact color scheme or pattern, but I have seen this paint splattered butterfly quite a few times, and I think there's actually other ones that are very similar in the paint splatter like style, just not a butterfly. I have seen this. It is kind of a more popular one, I guess, or more frequent addition to diamond painting collections that I've seen across the board on multiple platforms, so not just Amazon. And a lot of these stores, if you look just right and you can find the right names, you will find that a lot of these stores sell on multiple platforms. So there we go. It got pretty flat just by lifting that cellophane up. But let's look at the back to see if there's a little bit of pinching, any damage done. You can usually see that on the back better. There's like a lot of stuff hanging off of the sides here, pretty frayed, and that's probably just from cutting and handling, but it's never a good sign when you see that. That's a sign that it's most likely going to fray quite a bit. And I did notice, I hadn't mentioned this in other of the other videos, but it does have that plastic coating sprayed on it. I don't know how, that's not always typical. I mean, a lot of them are going to have something, but this is really like, it feels plastic instead of canvas. Whereas on the back, you know, it's obvious that it's canvas. And this side, you wouldn't even think it was the same material because it was so heavily coated, which is a good and a bad thing. It cleans very easily when it's sprayed like that. And you don't have to worry about this kind of stuff rubbing off very easily. So that's nice. This was $9.99. It was one of what I like to call 7 colors. So a lot of products, if they have a range of colors, like if it's, let me see, what do I got here? Okay, here we go. A makeup sponge. So you see this makeup sponge, and it comes in 5 different colors, and they'll have different boxes for each one of those colors. That's kind of what I mean when I say that. So under the same under the same heading, this was one of 7 choices, so you could just click between them, and they're all roughly the same price, maybe $1 difference at most. And they're kind of similar a lot of the times, either similar in size or in the picture, just changing, you know, I don't know, it's like on AliExpress, you'll see that a lot, where they'll just lump things together that are of similar categories. It's not like that on Amazon. There's really, I haven't found any rhyme or reason to how sellers decide to categorize certain things. So your guess is as good as mine. This one did advertise 18 colors. It showed the chart on the listing, and it did show that it had 18 colors, so I'm glad to see that it does indeed have 18 colors. It had a nice full description, and it only gave the size in centimeters, which is really fine. You know, that's not really something that I get too hung up on, is if they advertise inches and centimeters. I just kind of care that they're close. And so far in this project, none of the sizes that they mentioned were the sizes of the picture. Something that never used to bother me when I first started diamond painting, and for a lot of you, it might not matter to you either, but the more I work on things, the more I'm like, I just want more true and accurate. You know, if they're telling me it's 30 by 30, I want it to be the actual pasting area that's 30 by 30, or list that it's not. Like with diamond dots, a lot of time they'll advertise the full size, but then when you actually get into the packaging, it'll mention the entire, what they call the fabric size, and then it'll have the design size. And so I like when they are presenting both of those numbers to me. I don't know why. I guess it's kind of something that's, to me, a lot of it can come off as false advertising, especially like with the very first one on my list here. It's not the first store we did, where they advertised it as a 40 by 30, but in reality it was 35 by 25. There's a significant difference, 5 centimeters, but to me that's a significant difference, whereas had they advertised that as a 35 by 25, I could have made a more informed decision. I don't know if that's making any sense. Some of you might not care at all, and quite frankly, like I said, I started out not caring either when I first started doing this, but it also wasn't such a big deal at the beginning, I guess. And now when I'm looking for more specific sizes, it's something that's become super important to me. And the same thing was with the Nanxi store, where it was advertised as a 25 by 30, but really it's a 19 by 24. So that's a big difference in size to me. I mean, that one is 6 centimeters difference. And I know on AliExpress, they'll ask you to allow a 1 to 3 centimeter difference. And that I can understand. You know, some images can't be shrunk down to a set number like 40 by 30, 25 by 30, 30 by 30. And I get that. And it looks more appealing to the eye to say 30 by 30, or in this case of 40 by 30 in the Surf Shack, when it was actually 35 by 25. 40 by 30 sounds better than 35 by 25 to some people. To me, I just prefer an accurate description, and I can already see that this is also going to measure at, not at 30 by 30, which is kind of a bummer. It's going to be 25 by 25 and actually 24 and a half, probably 24 and a half. That one's almost right at 25. That's 24 and say 3/4, 7/8 maybe. I know centimeters don't work the same. It's millimeters. It's just easier for me to say it that way. So in inches, that is roughly just shy of 10 inches. So it's 9 3/4 by 9, and I'm guessing 9 3/4. Maybe it'll get the full 10. No, 9 7/8. So to me, I don't know. It's kind of a bummer. It's probably from one purple line to the other purple line. It's where you're getting your 30, and that's exactly where that's coming in. So it's just something to kind of keep in mind, that if you're looking for specific sizes, that in most cases you could be cautious. And if you're ordering a 25 by 30, just keeping it in the back of your mind to take off. The average for me so far has been 5 centimeters, so you can just automatically think about that and take off the 5 centimeters. So in this case, if you were looking to buy this and you wanted it and it says 30 by 30, you can just put it right in your head that it's probably a 25 by 25. Well, and in this case, 24 and a half by 24 and 3/4. But I will quit rambling about that. Let me just jot that down so that I know. Just something to kind of keep in mind. And that's a lot of why I do this, because you'll start to see patterns. So now this is the 10th painting that we've done just in this format. Not so much that I've ordered from Amazon. I ordered quite a few before I ever did this project. I probably ordered maybe about 5 or 6, maybe as many as 10 from Amazon before I did this project. But just with these 10, you can kind of see some patterns emerging as far as how sellers sell their paintings. And with that being said, why don't we insert a picture here so that you can see the picture and the listing in which I decided to buy this, and then we'll get into this of the finer details, look at the beads, take a close-up look at the canvas itself, look at the chart, and then we'll talk a little bit about scoring. So why don't I insert that picture here for you. So yeah, I mean, it wasn't, I gotta be honest, it wasn't really one of my absolute favorites, but I chose it because of the store name. I wanted to buy something because it was the QC Life store, and I wanted to see how it compared to the QC Style store. And again, this is rounds. I will try to find more squares the next time I do this project, because I know that there's some of you that are dedicated to your squares, and I don't blame you. There was a time when I only liked rounds, and then I got into doing squares, and I didn't like rounds no more. But now I like to do a little bit of both. I like to do a round, and then I'll do a square. So let's take a look. And again, we do get some DMC numbers on our actual beads, which, thank you. So out of the 5, only 2 of them came with DMC numbers. So that's something else to kind of keep in mind, is that you may not get that on Amazon. So if that's important to you, that might be a kind of deciding factor in whether or not you buy this. So obviously there's a lot of different colors in this. It's a very colorful one, 18 colors to be exact. And that's a lot of the appeal for me. It's got a lot more pink in it than I would typically pick. Nothing against pink. I'm a purple gal though. So let's get into the colors. So we got rust, we got a dusty rose, dusty mauve. We got some darker, I don't remember what I'd call this color. Is it like a mauve? I don't know. It doesn't matter. It looks different in camera. So, and then we get some more pinks there. We got like a red brown here. Some blues. And one of my favorites, this 3756. I really like that just because it's got that hint of green in it. And it does make a big difference on a canvas. So then we get some more blues and some minty colors here. My nail color there. Some greens, yellow. I hate this color right here, this poopy brown. And we got brown and black. So if we take a look at our whole color palette here, you can see it's not super vibrant, but I think overall the finished product will be a lot more colorful than our beads are leading us to believe that it might be. So I'll grab this here. Let me put these little beads away. Put them in their little housing unit here. And then we'll do a conclusion in this video as well. A wrap up. So if that's not something that you're terribly interested in, I'll give you ample warning when we get to that portion. We're just about done with the actual unboxing and first impression portion. Let's just move those off. All right, I know you're getting a lot of bounce and a lot of glare. That's just kind of typical with these unboxings, unfortunately. I mean, we got a very shiny surface. Even the actual stickiness is kind of shiny. Oh, that's really good sticky. It's not like slimy sticky, it's like sticky. So that's a very big bonus. So let's take a look in here, and I specifically wanted to focus on this area where there's a lot of different symbols, and just to kind of see how clear it is and if any of them kind of look like each other, which I know that there's a lot of, that's like the biggest thing that you'll read in reviews about specific paintings, not necessarily this one, is that people don't like when symbols are too similar to each other. And if they are, they don't like when they're grouped together. So you can see it's pretty easy to tell one from another. A lot of confetti. So somebody who's not into confetti may not like this particular painting. To me, it's got a nice mix of it, because then over here you get a lot more of the color blocking, where you see like the paint splatters themselves, the bigger paint splatters. So yeah, very nice, very clear. Why don't I pause quickly here, go over the scoring, and then I'll come back and let you know how this beauty fared. And then we'll get into wrap up and talk about all of the paintings from this particular project. So I will be back with you in a split second, my friends. All right, I'm back. And this was another one where I kind of struggled a little bit with a half a point, really. But ultimately, the QC Life Store did score a 9.5 out of 10. So, yay! The only spot that I ended up taking off, the canvas itself is in really good shape. I will need to iron it, and so the only spot that it really did lose points is the canvas condition, since I would not be able to just work right on it. I was tempted to take the half a point off because of the way it was wrapped, but you know, it's going to be hard to find one that isn't wrapped like that on Amazon. And the reason some places will lose it more than others is how tightly they roll it. And that can cause more damage. This one was wrapped all right. You know, they're not super severe. It's because the canvas is so thick that it has such deep wrinkles in it. Not really. It's more like waves. And they will come out fairly easily. I could probably even go right to work on this, but it wouldn't end up getting flat until I framed it, if I were to frame it. So for that reason, I did take a half a point off for the canvas condition. So 9.5 out of 10. Not too shabby. I want to jot that down so I don't forget when I'm doing the wrap up. So overall, I'm very happy with this order. I'm pretty much happy with all the orders. There's just the one that was a little bit of a bummer. So if this is all you cared about was the unboxing and first impression portion of it, I completely understand, and I thank you for watching up until this point. But I am going to get into doing a full wrap up on all of the paintings from the second part of the Amazon Project Amazon. So I'm going to pause. I'm going to get all the players, bring them back into the game, and we'll talk about this project as a whole and my final thoughts on all 5 paintings. Alright, well ultimately I'm not going to be able to get all of them in frame, but we will go over all of them together and talk a little bit more about each one. So obviously this was our last one, and you know, actually I'm going to backtrack a little bit. And I'm going to go from the best to the worst and go, I guess, in that way. And, you know, kind of go from there. So, with the AIRDEA, this one was 10 out of 10. So, this was the highest scoring one. This one is the most different out of all of them. But in reality, it does kind of go because of the silly little flower headlights that they got painted on their van there. They're all 30 by 40 or smaller, and all of the sizes did range. And I kind of touched on this a little bit in the beginning, toward the middle of this video that, you know, some of the downfalls about ordering from Amazon, and mainly the sizing and all of that not really being super accurate. But knowing that, that's something I can take away and know that when I'm ordering, I'm just gonna take that size into consideration. So like 30 by 40 as this one claims to be, and in the back of my mind I'm gonna say, well, it's probably most likely a 35 by 25. And when I get it, if it's not, then that's just all the better. But kind of knowing that after doing this project and comparing stores in bulk head on, it really does make a huge difference versus ordering one at a time, because it can be easy to forget some of the things that you either loved or hated in ordering from Amazon. So this was the highest scored one out of the 5, and it also was the least expensive at $8.29. By the time I get to these, Amazon is always fluctuating their prices. They're not the only store to do that, though. They're trying to, they want to have the best price at all times, and that's not always the case, but they try, I guess. So yes, overall, I did like this one. It didn't have DMC numbers, though, unfortunately. The chart was nice and simple on it, with only a couple of symbols. The symbols on the actual pasting area are super clear, very nice. And it did have the same heading as this one here with the DIY 5D fashion diamond painting. So obviously a lot of these are produced in bulk and then just probably bought by different companies. And you'll notice that a lot in how the charts themselves are, because you can see here how similar they are with their small letter and then number afterwards. This -2 is probably a second iteration of it or a second color scheme, but you'll see that here they have the kind of the same thing with the size and the item number and then the size, but they also put it here, and I have seen this quite a few ways too. In fact, in the last Amazon project, a lot of them had this on the top as well. So our Surf Shack was our number 1, and then this 2 of them got a 9.5, I believe. It was, let me take a peek at my little cheat sheet here. I do believe it was, yes, it was the 2 here in the back, the 2 that did it the long way. So we'll look at those together. And you can see that they're very different. This Finecase one here has charts on both sides, and it has their name on the top, a small little description with the item number and the size, and then a very simplistic chart. It's really small, though. That's kind of a bummer too. And the M and the S are a little hard to read. Same with that N there, number 10. So some of theirs are a little bit harder to read. And again, I knew this in advance, so I didn't fault them for this, where it was a little bit hard to read the quote behind. And this one is very similar to our butterfly one in that it's got the paint splatter effect behind it. You can see that in the thumbnail there as well. Above my thumbnail. But I do see how some of those symbols might be a little bit hard for some people to read, and even looking up close, it seems like it might be a little bit hard. Maybe under a light, it might be a little bit easier to read. So this one got a 9.5, and this one did as well. And this one actually has DMC numbers on the canvas. I believe this is the only one that included them on the canvas. I think so. But very simplistic chart again. This one, though, the only downfall I could see some people having with this one is the amount of 310 in the background. I know a lot of people really don't like that. And I want to say that the only reason that either of these even got a half a point taken off was just the way that they're canvas. I'm going to have to iron them before I can work on them. Especially this one, you can see. And they are actually very different canvas styles. This one's very soft. And this one is more the typical canvas that you see a lot of the times. So those ones were our 9.5s. And then our 9 was this one. Right? Oh, I got that wrong, guys. This was the 9.5. Oh my god, I'm so dumb. This one was a 9.0. We already talked about it. So this was the 9.5. And we just went over it, so I'm not going to talk too much about it. So this one got the... Good lord, my head. Doing all these videos back to back, kind of, things start to blur. Especially because I didn't even realize how much they are all so similar. They have butterflies and flowers in every one, just about. Maybe not this one, but the quote itself is very romantic, I guess. So, I mean, you can see that pretty much all of them have some sort of similarity to each other. I was just in that romantic kind of mode, I guess. And this one's driving me nuts because of the plastic keeps coming up off the canvas. So, yes, this was our 9.0. This was the 9.5, along with the love story. So the two paint splatter ones were the 9.5s. Alright, now this was the 9.0. And then this one got the lowest score here with an 8. And that had a lot to do with the canvas condition, the way it was shipped. The fact that it was... something got spilled on it before it was sent to me. So this one really just... it's really badly damaged and might come out with some ironing. I've had some where I've ironed them and that wasn't even enough. And just in general, the way I think this one was shipped to me was just not good. You know, I don't really have a whole lot more to say other than just to kind of show everything that came in this particular project. So I guess in conclusion, only 2 of them had DMC numbers. Only one had the DMCs printed on the actual canvas. And why don't we pull the beads out really quick. So Z181-2. So it had the DMCs on the drills and the canvas. So W623, where are ya? Which one are you? Are you the Surf Shack? I think this is the Surf Shack. Oh, and I'm throwing beads on the floor. W623, okay. So that's the Surf Shack. J4791. Oh, that's the one from Finecase. So there's those beads. And that leaves the blackboard, X08388. So these ones are from PJ. Are these ones PJ? No, these ones aren't. These ones are. And then these are both that come in the red outline. So a nice variety, all in the same price point. You know, I think $1.70 is the biggest difference in price, and that's the Surf Shack was the cheapest. Oh, that's something I guess I didn't really talk too much about. So the Surf Shack was the least expensive, highest scored. The Be-YOU-tiful one here, that was the lowest scored, was $8.99. This butterfly paint splatter was $9.99. And then turn my page back, Finecase was the next lowest price one, and that's this love story quote. That was $8.86. And then this Dragonfly and flowers was $9.99. So both of these two were the most expensive ones, and they both scored pretty high. So it's just kind of interesting when you look at all the different ways, or all the different ways your money could go, I guess. I don't know where I was going with that. Whereas this one was super tiny, but it wasn't super cheap. You know, I think it was $1 less than like these two. And where you look at these two and they're the exact same price. I think I'd rather spend the $9.99 and get this one at a bigger size than this one. But then it comes down to the image. Is the image worth it to you? So there's just so many different things to consider when you're working on this. So that's where we're at. I'm going to be doing videos sometime in the future, finding the DMC codes for these ones in particular. These 3 paintings here, I need some DMCs for them, and I'd like to find them before I do the paintings. I find it easier so that when I'm done, I can just be done, and I don't have to sit and try to find DMC numbers for them afterwards. So usually by the time I finish a painting, no matter what size, I'm done. I'm done being committed to it. So that's that. I don't really know what else to add to this. I really do love each and every one. Even this guy at 8.0. I'm hoping that the iron will get that stuff out. That maybe I can wipe this stuff off. I don't even know what it is. It's kind of sticky. It doesn't have a smell. It smells just like a diamond painting. Good thing because I just put my nose right up to it. But yeah, so nice variety. Some other things is not all of them had the pictures. I think only 2 of them actually. This one and the one from Finecase are the only ones that had picture thumbnails. Which isn't really a big deal. Not everybody cares about that kind of stuff, but yeah. So two paint splatters. One, I guess I thought more of them had flowers. One with flowers and a dragonfly, which is very similar to a butterfly. One ocean one. I don't know why I keep buying ocean ones. Maybe I got spring fever or summer fever, because I keep looking at ones like that. But a blackboard one. No multi-packs this time around, unfortunately. But yeah, so I don't really have much more to say. Let me know your thoughts down below. Which one was your favorite? Do you plan on ordering any of these? Or have you ordered any of these? Also, if you have an idea, like I said, I have some stores that I'm going to be ordering from. Some I'm waiting on still. And I want to keep what those are a surprise, where I ordered from. If you have any stores on Amazon that you want me to include in the next Project Amazon, and I will try to look for more squares for that one too. It's not real easy to find squares on there, but I will make it my mission to find squares on the next go round. And let me know, you know, like I said, if there's any other stores you want to see on Amazon, if you want me to do the greatest hits, I guess, in the next run, if the all the things that I've talked about, whatever you feel like commenting on, you just leave me a comment down below and let me know. All of these will be linked down below. I will also have them linked in my Amazon influencer page for your convenience. So yeah, that's all I got, guys. So with that, I will let you go. Have an awesome day. Have fun diamond painting. Have fun crafting. Have fun doing whatever it is that makes you happy. I love you, friends, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.